Get out of here, Dewey.
What are y'all doing in here?
We're smoking reefer, and you don't want no part of this shit.
You're smoking reefers?
Yeah, of course we are. Can't you smell it?
No, Sam. I can't.
Come on, Dewey. Join the party.
No, Dewey. You don't want this. Get out of here.
You know what? I don't want no hangover. I can't get no hangover.
It doesn't give you a hangover.
Well, I'll get addicted to it or something?
It's not habit forming.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't want to overdose on it.
You can't OD on it.
It's not going to make me want to have sex, is it?
It makes sex even better.
It sounds kind of expensive.
It's the cheapest drug there is. You don't want it.
I think I kind of want it.
That means that we punched our ticket to go try to win a Super Bowl, and that's it. We got one game at a time, starting at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Love y'all, boys. Love you. Love you. I'll go to war with every single one of you, every game, all right? Love you, 1-7. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Win.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your fucking clout. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
It's showtime.
Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report. I'm your host, Tommy, to the highest degree, to the TOP, from the 313. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because I always forget to tell you. What up, Bills Mafia? Welcome back to another episode of the Down Drought Series. This is episode number 12, 2011, Buffalo Bills. This is Ryan Fitzpatrick's probably, I would say, his best year, right? In Buffalo, and it still was not good enough to get our Buffalo Bills into the playoffs and break the drought. So let's see who's in here already. We got Bob in the house. What up, Bob, man? Sorry for the 5-minute delay. I was getting a drink and getting ready, getting comfortable, that is, for this podcast, man. So I appreciate you guys rocking with me once again on this Sunday. We only got, what do we got left? We got about 6 more episodes, right? We got 20, 12, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Yeah, five episodes. So got about 5 episodes left. And this has been a fun series, man. I've had a good time with you guys, going back, reminiscing about the old days, the shit show that was here in Buffalo through the drought years. And yeah, without further ado, let's get this thing started. Actually, you know what? We'll wait a little bit because, man, it seems really quiet in here. Everybody just kind of waking up on a Sunday, a little lazy, not a lot of people chatting. It's like, I don't know, where are you guys at? Where are you? Where is everybody today, man? Usually there's a few of you guys in here by now, man. What's going on with that?
Oh, excuse me.
I'm just saying. Anyways, man, I guess we'll talk. You know what? We'll talk a little current Buffalo Bills stuff while we're waiting on some people to arrive to start this episode of Down and Drought. So, yeah, look, man, guys, I was live last night, or Friday night. I'm sorry, Friday night, for about 3 hours talking about, you know, the Buffalo Bills have broken the chain of McDermott. And how I expect, this season to, and really moving forward to, I expect this Buffalo Bills team to actually make it to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. I felt like McDermott was the issue on why this team hasn't reached and won a Super Bowl over the last, I would say, 7 seasons, to be fair. And, I think a lot of Bills Mafia is still, they're still holding on to the past of McDermott, right? And the past failures of this team, especially for the defense on the defensive side of the ball. And what I'm telling you guys is let that go, because what you're going to see in 2026 and moving forward is going to be a much better defense, in my opinion. And look, and by the way, I was talking to, who was I talking to? I was talking to Captain D, who's a Dolphins fan, but I was explaining to him that, look, football, just like any sport, but especially football, as the years go on, right, and offenses change, right? Same with defenses, but especially for offenses, right? They're always trying to get more creative and innovative. And as a defensive coordinator, you have to adapt. You have to adapt to the new wave of the new offenses in the NFL, right? And I felt like Sean McDermott never adapted to that, right? He kind of just held on to that 4-3. He stuck with it. He didn't really adjust his defense at all. And what we're going to see here from this younger coaching staff, especially, like I said, on the defensive side with Jim Leonard and a lot of these guys coming up from the college ranks, is they're innovative and they're understanding what this new, offenses are looking like, right? And these guys are willing to adapt and change and throw different looks out there. And that's what you're going to be seeing from a Jim Leonard defense. It's not going to be what we've seen over the last 9 seasons with Sean McDermott, right? You're going to see a lot of different looks. I know it's a 3-4, but you're going to see a lot of different kind of fronts. You're going to see a lot of different rotations. You're going to see a lot of different disguises, more aggressive defense. It's basically to confuse the quarterback is the way Leonard likes to do it. And he also likes to play by the matchup, right? So that's why I'm trying to tell you guys, it's going to be a far different look and approach to this defense moving forward, which is, thank God, which is what we needed here in Buffalo, right? Sean McDermott was never going to change. He was old school coach, and he also did that to the offense, right? So his mentality for the defense, which is that old school way of thinking, he wanted that old school way of thinking on offense as well. And once again, you can't be like that because defenses as well, they adapt and they get, they change what they're doing, right? They're constantly adjusting to offenses, right? And McDermott just wanted this old school type of football that just wasn't going to work, right? And that's why I don't blame the roster. I don't. I felt like he held back the defense, and I felt like he really held back the offense. So I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited to see what this team can be now that they broke the chains from McDermott. All right, I think there's some more people getting in here. Let's see. Chris, I'm here, Tommy. Boring day, no hockey, no football or football. Yeah. This is the quiet part of the off season, man. I was telling Dan the other day, Dan Mitchell, we talk here and there, so I was telling him, man, the off season is just, like these months here get so brutal as a podcaster, right? Because it feels almost repetitive, and it's really, it's not that it's tough, but to come up with something to talk about that's fresh isn't easy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of digging, right? You're fishing for stuff to kind of come up with and talk about that's new, right? And somewhat exciting, right? Enough for viewers to tune in and listen. And like I said, man, as a podcaster, man, and I give him so much credit because he does Buffalo Bills content daily. During the off season for me, I go live 3 times a week now. During the season, I'm a lot more active on YouTube because there's a lot more to talk about during the course of a season. But man, like that's why I came up with this idea of doing the Down Drought Series with you guys, because at least it's something fresh and new, and rather than be repetitive and keep going over the same old talk. I mean, there's only so much I could talk about with, when it comes to, McDermott, let's say, right? So now, like I said, Friday night was a good topic because I don't know if many people have discussed that, like breaking free or breaking the chains of the old way of thinking into the new way of thinking. So, that was fine, but it's tough, man. I'm going to be honest with you guys, to kind of like just come on here and be, try to come up with something fresh, every week. Yeah, man, it's, and I appreciate you guys, because you guys steer the ship sometimes. And, you got to remember too, man, with our channel, me and, on this specific channel, me and Mikey, we just wing it, man. We really don't, there's no notes. There's no, no pre-planned discussion of how we're going to do the podcast tonight. Mikey shows up 1 minute before we go live. We hit the live and we roll with it, man. I'll have some stuff that I pull up, some articles, maybe one topic that, that came up with during the course of the day. But outside of that, guys, it's just kind of like, it's really basically about you guys, right? And you guys steer the ship for about a good hour and a half sometimes, until I even reach my articles that I found before we went live. So I appreciate you guys, man. I really, really do, man. You guys are honestly the ones that steer the ship on this channel. I couldn't do it without you. Let's see here. Steven coming in. Shout out West Texas. All right. I actually stayed in Texas when I was a kid for 1 year. I don't remember it. I was so young, bro. I'm excited to see the D. It should be more improved this year, and then next year we should be unstoppable. Yeah, dude, like it's only going to get better, man. I'm going to tell you right now, like you got to remember, anything like Jim Leonard, what he has right now, a lot of it is he inherited, right? So, and I feel like the players that he inherited, obviously he's going to try to get them, up to speed on what he wants. But the guys that we picked up in free agency in the draft, these are Jim Leonard guys. These are guys that he feels are going to fit in the system, right? We'll see what happens with the guys that he inherited, right? But yeah, like to your point, like next season's going to even be more exciting for the defense, or even better, because there's going to be even more rookies and free agents that fit his profile and what he wants his defense to look like on game day. So, but I do believe like the guys that he inherited can transition into what he wants. You know what I mean? So, but time will tell. Time will tell on that. Good day, Tommy. What's going on, Lynn? How you doing? I don't believe you could complain about McDermott for years. Bob, you're probably right on that. I probably could. Eventually, I won't. Eventually, that McDermott talk will just kind of fade away. But I really don't want to. I got to be honest with you. But I guess the more I think about the opportunities that were missed during that time, the McDermott era, it still kind of bothers me. I'm not going to lie, but I'm trying my best to live in the now. Right. How's Island life? Dude, Island's life's great, man. Believe in being Island. # BB. Look, man, I know there's not a lot of true believers in Brandon Beane, and I would say 80% of Bills Mafia probably hates the dude and I don't get it, but that's okay. That's all right. I understand their frustrations, and but time will tell if I'm right on this one. And I do believe he's done a really good job as a GM. I believe he's continuing to do right by this team. And we just had the wrong guy, leading the team out in the field when I was Sean McDermott. So we'll see if I'm right, man. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, all Bills Mafia is going to love me, right? So anyways, all right, let's get this thing started now that I got some people in here. All right, Down and Drought. We're on episode number 12. This is 2011 season. This is Ryan Fitzpatrick's best year as a Buffalo Bill. And I thought I had it. Hold on, guys. Hold on. There we go. All right, here we go. And if it's too loud.
Episode 12, 2011. We shall not fail. If we
Let me
stand
know if you can
firm,
hear me on the
we
mic
shall not
while
fail.
this is playing.
Wise counsels may accelerate or mistakes delay it. But
above
sooner or
average?
later, the victory
He's
is sure to come.
borderline one of the best GMs in the NFL, bro. Bob.
Now, on Inside the Buffalo.
Wait.
I would say he's a good,
Use that
solid
time.
A grade in my
Hold
opinion.
out.
But
This.
it is what it is.
All right.
Folks, do we have a special episode of Down and Drought?
Here we
for
go,
you
guys.
today? You know what the routine is. Every week we're going over a season of the Bills' 17-year playoff drought, going in depth on everything about the Buffalo Bills and their 17-year playoff absence. I'm Prescott Rossi. He's Thad Brown. And
So how many of you guys remember this 2011 year?
By God, that's the Droughtcast music. Ryan Nagelhout sitting in with us. Ryan, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. This is exciting.
And you really are the inspiration for kind of everything drought-wise in Western New York this offseason. I remember it was right around Christmas hanging out with you and the defenseman. Are we still going by his alias?
Let's call him Corey Griswold. He's
okay.
he's
He's been outed. His name, his online alias has been outed. And you guys said like, hey, we're going to do this idea of doing a podcast for every game of the Bills playoff drought, and explain to me how that idea came about. And
Yeah, he had quite a bit
execute something like
interceptions that
it was
year.
Not my idea. I do want to state that because I don't want to be
24 touchdowns, 25
It's not
interceptions.
over.
So
This could go terribly wrong.
not the
could
not the best there by actually 24 and 23.
And,
Sorry, I take that back.
Said yes, and then I said, wait, how many games is that? And he's like, it's 250 something. I was, oh, all right, well. Yeah, let's do it anyway. And so so we started doing that. We recorded about 3.
He was a dog. Like I don't mind Fitz.
Really
I like
because it's
the dude represents Buffalo Bills wherever he goes. He's a Bills Mafia favorite. You know what I mean? Like
there's some of these years
but
that are
we weren't going to go anywhere with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, that's just the truth. He knows this.
He was in Virginia.
But he was a great. He'd be a great backup. Like if we had Josh Allen, let's say Fitzpatrick was still in football, young or whatever, like that Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Losing terribly.
Absolutely great backup. I would take it.
Defense there, and like I'm learning a lot that I willingly forgot.
Well,
exactly, Bob. At least he fucking took chances and wasn't captain checkdown like Trent Edwards.
Happens while we're in middle school. So like. Begins when we're in middle school, and our whole lives.
He gave us an opportunity. He gave his receivers an opportunity to make a play on the ball.
Game by game recaps and episodes. What have you learned about the Bills, maybe even about yourself?
Oh boy, I was actually thinking about it on the drive here. I drove in from Niagara Falls. I was kind of trying to put the timeline together of because you're ahead a couple years of where we are. We're just started the 2007.
What up, Weston? Believe in Fitz Island. I like it. I like it.
They got destroyed by the Patriots in Randy Moss.
That's a good one.
Who just arrived there now.
He's a great dude. He's a good guy.
I was
like I said, man. Like definitely a fan favorite.
And just carried through all of that. Most of that time was me as a fan. Then I became a person in the media. This season is actually the first time I attended a Bills game as media. And you
guys remember he didn't really have a beard.
How dystopian this is.
When he was with us. I think he had a goatee, right? But he didn't have that big ass beard with us in the beginning.
The focus this episode is 2011, and right at the start of 2011 is actually an event that doesn't involve the Bills, but it does involve their future owner. February 22nd, Terry Pegula buys the Sabres from Tom Golisano, and that is a franchise that was
Pegula buys the Sabres.
Trips to the conference finals. Was there any thought for you, Thad, covering the Bills and in the media in Western New York at the time, and for you, Ryan, living in Niagara Falls at the time, thinking that this could be the savior for the Bills a couple years down the road? Because Ralph is is 92 at this point, and obviously we know the end is sooner than the beginning.
I don't think that was the immediate thought. I think that came soon after. I mean, immediately it was just, wow, here's an owner for the Sabres that, really is going to care about winning the cup and stuff,
Yeah.
And because the previous owners have been about saving money, being economical, Tom Golisano. And one of the first things that Terry Pegula said in his press conference was, we're going to cut the chains. We're going to spend whatever it takes. And everyone was excited about that, the thought of saving the Bills, although
I don't watch hockey, but were you guys excited
in that specific
when
moment? Wasn't quite
Sabres,
then,
like for you hockey fans out there?
A few months later, that whenever you talked about the Bills, it was, hey, why not the guy who owns the hockey team buy the football team too?
Starting today.
Oh, there he is.
Sabres' reason for existence will be to win a Stanley Cup. There will be no financial mandates on the Buffalo Sabres hockey department.
Clarion call should go out.
I mean, he sounds like, I'd be excited here. Guy's not holding back. He's ready to spend some money.
And work for the best owner in the league. Make some plans to come to Buffalo because this is where it's going to happen.
Okay, Bob.
It was certainly the next logical step.
Yeah.
And that was what, you would hear on talk radio. It was not, there were no, I think somebody even asked in the initial press conference about that. And he's like, no, that's not my thing. He's a hockey guy. He talked about how much he loved the Sabres and how much he
seats
loved
in the red, red seats at the odd.
Yeah. Gilbert Perreault showed up.
See, this is why I like doing this series, guys, because you forget about a lot of this stuff. Or even me, like I didn't know Pegula bought the Sabres back then. And, these are all just interesting clips they play, like the press conferences and stuff like that. I just find it just interesting, man, just to go back in time. And some of you guys probably never even seen this stuff or forgot about it. And some of you guys, like I said before, maybe a lot of you guys or some of you guys are young fans or young Bills fans that didn't witness the drought and don't understand what Bills fans had to suffer through for this time. And it's good to go back and kind of learn about what went on and how a bad team is operated, and what a good team now, how it looks like it should be ran, right? So everybody's complaining about Brandon Beane, terrible GM job. Go back. Go back in time to the drought years and really truly understand how many busts there were in the drafts that we did, right? Now, you guys, people talk about rip on Brandon Beane about his drafts. By the way, I don't get it because there's only really been one draft I didn't care for. I believe that was the 2020 draft. Outside of that, I feel like he's been, an A for 2018 and B's and B pluses. I think the 2020 is the only one that I gave him like a C or C, I think I gave him. But either way, look at the drought years. We were top 10, top 5 drafting almost every year, right? Because we were such a shitty team. And the majority of his picks did not work out. They were bust, or we wound up trading them away, right? Marshawn Lynch, CJ Spiller didn't work out really. You know what I mean? Like, he was okay, but Willis McGahee, like all these picks that we did early on, Aaron Maven, like, you know what I mean? So imagine, right? And look at all the different GMs that came through Buffalo. By the way, it wasn't just like one guy, fucking up through the drought years. So, people want to talk about like Beane doing such a poor job. Beane is drafting late in every round. And if you look at our current roster, a lot of these guys that are starting today are all draft picks, man, right? You're not going to get every single draft pick right. Okay, you're going to miss on some. It happens. Every team misses on some draft picks every season. But if you can get a couple in each draft that work out, that are starters, that can provide something for you on the field, right? Then for me, that's a hit. And if you look at, like I said, once again, if you look at this roster, right? Josh Allen, right? James Cook, Spencer Brown, Osiris Torrance, Khalil Shakir, right? Groot, Ed Oliver, Christian Benford, Bernard Cole Bishop, right? These are all guys that were drafted that are starters that have played at a pretty good level, right? We got a elite quarterback borderline elite running back. Like, I would say he's great. He's not elite, but he's great. Khalil Shakir, I feel like he can even be better, but he's been really good. Oh, and I missed, if Dalton Kincaid stays healthy, he's a very good tight end. He's one of the better tight ends in the NFL. Dawson Knox isn't a slouch either. Spencer Brown's one of the better right tackles in the NFL. Osiris Torrance is only getting better, right guard, who's about to get paid. Groot's been a really good edge. Now, is he what Bills Mafia wants him to be, a 10-plus sack guy? No. Right? But I'm very interested to see what he does in this new system. But he's been one of the best edge run defenders in the NFL. Ed Oliver, when healthy, and has a guy next to him that, which we still haven't really got on nose tackle, he's been pretty good. And Christian Bedford, for me, is a top 10 corner. And Cole Bishop is a rising star. He's only getting better. He is yet to reach the ceiling. He still has a while to go, but he's heading there. And people want to knock the drafts that he's done. Go back in time. Look at this drought years. Look how many different GMs had their opportunities to get a quarterback, had their opportunities to get a playmaker, to get this team going. Didn't happen. And I like a lot of these players that we have. I do. But, boy, a lot of these guys did not work out. And they didn't improve the team. They didn't get us to a playoff. Pagula was and is a great guy for Buffalo. Okay, there you go, Bob. Some people hate him. Some people hate Pagula. Allen, Kelly, Flutie, Fitzpatrick, Ferguson were all really good for the Bills. Yeah, I agree with that. I was a big Doug Flutie fan. I feel like, the owner at the time, Ralph Wilson, God rest his soul, rest in peace, Ralph. And the GM at the time were, because they, gave him all that money for Rob Johnson and they gave draft picks away, they kind of forced Wade Phillips to start him over Doug Flutie, which was a major mistake, obviously. But yeah, Doug was the man. It's too bad with all that going on, it kind of just fucked everything up. Ryan Fitzpatrick, for me, listen, he's a fan favorite. He was a tough son of a bitch. He had awesome moments, but he had a lot of bad ones too. You know what I mean? That's kind of the story of his career. He'll give you like 2-3 games maybe in a row where he's throwing 400 yards. And then, the next 4 games, he, throwing fucking 4 interceptions. You know what I mean? Like, he was just too up and down as a quarterback. But I mean, yeah, like somebody said earlier, I think it was Bob, at least he was throwing the ball downfield and giving the receivers an opportunity to make a play. Like, you know what I mean? Trent Edwards was throwing, 3-yard passes. Like, it just wasn't going to work. It was boring football. I would say Tyrod Taylor too. When we first got him, I was a fan of. I thought he brought something different to the table. He was mobile. He actually had a really nice deep ball. But kind of like not JP. I forget who. Well, Trent Edwards too in the beginning, and so he got hurt and he started doing cap and check down. But Tyrod Taylor, kind of same thing. He kind of got banged up one year, and he started to he's holding the ball a little bit too much, and he just wasn't taking those shots downfield like he was early on with the Bills. But once again, though, he was a change of scenery, from what we had in the past. So I didn't mind Tyrod either, man. Let's see here. Drew, Rob Johnson, Tyrod Taylor, all complete. See, I don't think Tyrod Taylor was complete worthless. And I don't think Drew was either. I thought we got the best out of Drew in 2002. That was the best we were going to get. And we had a terrible coach in Greg Williams. That offense was unbelievable. If you go back to that 2002 offense, it was sick, man. Drew Bledsoe, man, he had a really good connection with Molds and Price and Josh Reed. And then Travis Henry ran for almost 1,500 yards. Like, that was a dynamic offense. It's just the defense was terrible. Greg Williams was a garbage coach. And that was it. It was one and done. I mean, I know he played for us for 3 seasons, but that was it. He gave us all he had in 2002, and then he declined really fast in 2003 and 2004, and then he went on and played for Dallas. But I don't think he was garbage. He gave us one good year. We had an opportunity, but it just wasn't going to work with Greg Williams, and that defense was really bad. Rob Johnson, he was straight up trash. And I like Tyrod Taylor. I had no problem with Tyrod, but kind of like for Ryan Fitzpatrick, he was too inconsistent. I felt like he got kind of gun shy at the end there too. And he just wasn't going to lead us anywhere. I mean, it's just the facts. All right, let's continue this.
Up and he cried in the introductory press conference. He was very emotional about that team and didn't care about football at all because he didn't live here. Why would he? But people certainly hoped because things were getting pretty dark when it comes to the ownership of the Buffalo Bills.
And at the very least, it was another option, and it was so dark that any option was a positive step.
And I know a lot of talk has been made about Western New York's economy and Buffalo being a Rust Belt city, but there are rich people in Western New York that could save the Bills when the time comes. Terry Pegula at this time is worth $4.7 billion.
Damn.
Which would be enough to buy the Bills. Now,
Terry has some money, huh?
Season in 2011 is a league-wide
$4.7 billion.
Thad, what was it like, going into an
That's
offseason
all
with
right.
that question mark looming, and then with the owners locking the players out and free agency, who knows what's going to happen with the draft, and so many things now up in the air.
Not only was it
that dude ain't checking his bank account every morning.
But it wasn't like there was a lockout.
Making sure he could pay the electric on
time. There was a lockout, and then the judge decided, well, now it's not a lockout for players.
I think everything is on auto pay for Pegula. He's fine with that.
It won't be on. I mean, every day it was not only what are the rules during the lockout, but is the lockout still on? And then now that it's not,
I don't think he's calling for any extensions, payment extensions.
Showed up at his team facility, and Russ Brandon said, "Sorry, you can't come in." I mean, it was that kind of thing all year. Guys were holding their own practices. That was the only time I don't think we attended an off-season workout because you didn't know where they were going to be from week to week. So every day, every week was a new. What are the rules? What can the players do? What can't they do? And what are we going to cover today?
It was certainly one of the first lockouts I can remember of my life where it actually felt like they put chains on fences and you couldn't go places and the players were trying to get in. Like, when the NHL locked out, which it has done a whole bunch, it seems, it was very much you could kind of comb through the CBA and say, like, these are the issues they have to address.
Oh, did the NHL had a lockout then?
And knew exactly what was going on. And like you said, with the NFL,
I heard baseball is going to have a lockout next season, which is crazy.
Lockout in a sense, but also just very confusing for an average fan.
You also have to become a lawyer now. Right. Yeah, media and like understanding, well, this allows antitrust lawsuits, and this judge says this and that. Now, I don't know how they were able to make it work, and it's not really worth diving into, but they are allowed to have the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. So no free agency of any kind. So who knows what these players' futures are. April 28th through the 30th, the Bills have the 3rd overall pick, and it's pretty obvious that Cam Newton's going to go number
3rd
1.
pick. Who we taking, guys?
Von Miller goes to Denver at number 2. Marcel Darius, the defensive tackle out of Alabama.
Marcel Darius.
The thought of the Bills bringing in a major piece to anchor the middle of their defensive line.
The funny thing about this draft is that this might be the only draft maybe I can remember where you had that many picks that were, at the time, no-brainers in the way they would play out. And even looking back, if you drafted that draft again, no matter what teams were there, they would go in the same 3 picks. And
so they got Darius, they got Aaron Williams,
all 3 guys have been
who hurt his neck later on. We all know that. Kelvin Shepard did not work out. Denor Searcy, Chris Harrison, Johnny White.
Although I'm sure they would have preferred, especially with Cam Newton out of the draft.
Chris White,
but
Justin Rogers, and Michael Jasper.
They probably would have preferred to have Von Miller too. But all things considered, their run D was so bad.
Searcy was okay.
A run stopper, an elite run stopper, which is what
Shepard definitely didn't work out.
Just fine.
We want a guy that's going to play as hard as he can.
It's Buddy Nix.
And he's one of them. He don't take plays off. He don't quit on the long chase. He gives you everything. You know what you're going to get every play.
As I said earlier,
you tell him, Buddy Nix,
to be reckoned with. He is a big, strong, physical, athletic man, and I think
Marcel Darius is pretty good here. I have no problem with Darius.
We're better than we were at 808 tonight.
Everybody know my versatility. I can go out here and make it happen. I come off the ball hard. I got a quick step. Everybody asks me that. It's just overwhelming. I cannot explain the way I feel.
Like that would be that would have been a perfect pick for us now. You know what I mean? Having a Marcel Darius now.
I mean, with some fans, just because he's such an imposing force.
What up, Scott? How you doing, brother?
They need a run stop.
Like Marcel Darius would fit perfect in this system now. Like we want a guy like that right now next to Ed. There you go.
No, it didn't work out.
Right,
But thankfully,
but yeah, he had his run here.
The research
We
for
paid
the
him
2011
too.
draft. A lot of the articles I'm seeing are about, well, the Bills should look for a quarterback because we know what the ceiling is with Fitzpatrick. He obviously hasn't signed his big deal yet. So, like, well, the Bills should look at a quarterback, even if they don't get Cam Newton. Well, so, these are the other quarterbacks that go in the first round. Jake Locker, Blaine
It seems
Gabbert,
like they
Christian
like
Ponder. If that happens in Buffalo and they pass
Kyle
on Darius,
Allen.
he becomes a Pro Bowl level defensive tackle with some other team.
What'd you guys think of Marcel Darius, by the way? What's your thoughts about him?
This is one instance where, like, all right, here's your layup, and they got it done.
I don't think it changed me at all. When I say I want to be a pro, I want to be a pro on and off the field.
I thought he was a good pick.
Myself,
He worked out
community,
for me. I felt like he worked out.
Back home, my brothers and sisters. And then when I do have kids, I want to handle myself, want to be a pro around them. Let them know to set the example. Just because you have it and you done work for it don't mean you got to go out there and flaunt it and blow it all away.
Second round pick, the Bills have pick number 34. They take a defensive back out of Texas, a man by the name of Aaron Williams.
I feel bad for Aaron, man. That neck injury, man. God.
He's a free agent, so
Brutal, man. Then he had the neck injury, came back, and then
in the second round,
the guy for the Dolphins lit him up, man. Dirty play, and that was a wrap.
Quarterback was discussed. I mean, Kaepernick wasn't a quarterback then.
He was a very good player first. Yeah, I believe that too, Scott.
Exactly. Yeah, right. That too.
Yep, Darius was a dude.
I don't
Absolutely.
think there's a problem with it. And Aaron Williams impressed me.
Mikey wasn't overly impressed by Darius.
Better than Marcel.
I disagree with him. I thought Darius was a good player
I thought
for
Aaron
us.
was fantastic in camp. Now, obviously, the careers have gone different directions. Injuries are part of it. But in that camp, I thought Aaron Williams was fantastic.
It seems like, I mean, it's a pick that they just keep addressing that same position over.
I forget the guy's name that hit Aaron Williams. He was a receiver for the Dolphins. I think he also played for
You would love
Cleveland.
to see them, go after a quarterback maybe and have
Definitely a dirty play,
Fitzpatrick obviously
but
becomes
not
a guy
illegal.
that they,
I mean,
can be the
not at the
long-term quarterback.
time.
But you would have liked, just to find the answer there would have been pretty great. And Andy Dalton shows up immediately.
Yeah,
and that makes a lot of people upset.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, I know not to spoil things.
The third round pick is Kelvin Shepard, a linebacker
Yeah,
at LSU.
yeah.
And
I agree with that.
says in the draft room in the media room after that pick that it was Kelvin Shepard's Senior Bowl showing that sold him on Kelvin Shepard. Well, one player who didn't go to the Senior Bowl and ends up going 2 picks later to Kansas City is Justin Houston, an all-pro linebacker.
God,
So-
look at that guy. See? You're going to...
That's not the worst miss of the drought.
And they do flip.
It happens.
And
huge. So,
it all works out with Shepard. But if Justin Houston in the middle of that linebacking core would have been nice. Denora Cersei in the 4th round. 7 of the 9 Bills picks are on the defensive side of the ball. And you finally see them really addressing areas of concern. I know there were still others on the offensive side, but the defense was so poor in 2010.
Yeah, we went defensive
I would have
heavy
to
in this
imagine the
draft.
grades coming out of that draft in 2011 were very positive. Well, beyond Darius.
Even beyond, it was. I don't know if it was very positive. I think it was moderately positive. If you look back at that draft, it was a really good
Oh,
draft.
Sammy? Yeah, man.
And then
Sammy was excellent
Williams,
in college,
and
bro.
then,
Like,
Shepard, who, in
he was
my
a good
opinion,
receiver, even in the
becomes good.
NFL when healthy, but
is a quality
even
player.
Chris
he was just like Glass Joe, man. I felt bad for him, bro, but it is what it is, bro. He just could not stay healthy. I remember he got hurt right away, bro. In camp. I mean, right away. I think it was his ribs, something like that. And it was just like one thing after another with Sammy Watkins. He just could not stay healthy.
Happened in season, and there were a lot of retooling.
Oh, Jarvis Landry, thank you.
Things that happened when this.
It was illegal blindside block, and he was Oh, was he? Okay. I didn't. Did they throw a flag? I could swear they didn't throw a flag on that play. Maybe they fined him later, Scott, but I could swear that he didn't get a penalty. I know there was fighting right after the play was over, but I don't think he got flagged for that. Maybe he got fined after the game, but
kind of
But that was you're right. It was Landry, and that was a wrap for.
I'm not retired. I'm retired.
That was a wrap.
Yeah. Or Rush Brandon, who came up from.
Oh, there was okay. Damn, I don't recall her being in a penalty, but you might be right.
I don't think the draft in particular, like. It's a general feeling that you didn't need underscored by the draft, but the draft.
No, yeah, neither did Willis.
The draft Wednesday, May 4th, and this is a move that the Bills do this year in real time.
Yeah.
Wednesday, May 4th, the Bills fire Tom Modrak as VP of college scouting. And Modrak has recently passed away. But Thad, you've covered this team through the entire.
Scott, I don't recall. I don't remember that.
With a high position.
I just remember they were fighting kind of like after the play was over.
And it seemed like, he survived picks like Mike Williams, Lossman, McCargo, Maben, Whitner, Hardy.
Oh, McCargo, remember him?
It's kind of amazing that Modrak is still there. What did that say about him that he was able to withstand all of that and still be there in 2011?
He only talked to us, for the draft luncheons. So we'd see him maybe once before the draft and maybe after the draft. And he was also always a secondary player on the dais, on the podium. So we didn't really deal with him much. Seemed like a decent guy. This wasn't like you'd hear backroom things about Tom Donahoe being terrible to all the staff. You never heard that about Tom Modrak. Very straightforward guy. And the fact that the story with that is, like you said, the fact that he was still there, to be fired after this draft, after all the other terrible drafts that he had already survived. And again, this one turns out to be pretty good. I mean, if the firing of the scouting staff after a draft works out as well with the 2017 draft as it did with 2011, then the Bills are going to be in good shape for a while here.
And then a couple days later, on May 6th, 2 days later, in fact, Doug Whaley's title goes from, and I want to make sure I get this right,
Doug Whaley,
Director of Pro Personnel to Director of Player Personnel.
Yeah. Whoa, Whaley moving on up.
He now takes over Modrak's duty as college scouting director.
He goes
He's
from
going on the road more.
Yeah, he goes from just running the pro personnel, in other words, looking at free agents and guys who are out there in the league, to now he looks at that and the college guys too.
And you mentioned how when they hired Buddy Nix, how there was a feeling that, all right, this is a team that's acting like a football team. And now you're seeing Doug Whaley getting elevated to another position in the front office. I would have to imagine that reaffirmed that.
All right, yo.
Again, when Doug Whaley was brought on board, and we said this one of the last two podcasts, whenever he was hired, that there was already a feeling he was.
Now you look here, Scott Blakely.
And this just confirmed it, that he is progressing up the ladder, getting more responsibilities. Whenever Nix wants to step away, Nix was no spring chicken, so we kind of figured it was closer than later that Whaley would be the guy, and this just again confirmed that.
Friday, June 24th, the Bills have new uniforms.
Hey!
The away whites with the
new uniforms, baby.
They're going back to the royal blue. Just your thoughts, fellas, on this long overdue jersey switch.
There's such shame in those jerseys that they got rid of just now. Really, I mean, it's the worst. And it was a terrible look. And
people hated these jerseys. I like their blue.
So walked out on the field
and red ones
and is wearing them. And then fans just saw so much like terrible mayhem with those jerseys that
I like those blue and reds.
Throwbacks,
the white and ones and white and blue ones are
quite a bit. But it was exciting.
Not the best looking.
It was such a logical choice for a team that it was so driven towards marketing for such a long time. It's amazing that they didn't make that move sooner.
That's a great call. I think really the main thing, I really like the home dark blue look, even when they went blue on blue. The road jerseys were awful though. There's no
that dark blue. It was the dark blue and red. I like.
They could have gone to orange and yellow.
And then they went to like that royal blue. That's right. They went to the royal blue.
Sports with Sports Director John Kutchko.
I'll be honest, I'm not so sure about the new uniforms, but hey, if it gets into the playoffs, whatever.
Scott hated
At this
them.
point, you got to try anything. Anything. And this was held tonight, an event tonight, with a lockout going on. So there has not been a lot of buzz around the NFL to this point because
I
of
wonder
that
if I have any royal blue jerseys. I don't know if I do or not.
But nonetheless, they threw a party tonight. The Bills holding an event this evening to unveil their new look for 2011, assuming there is.
I have a ton of the Reebok ones.
Season.
The dark blue ones.
A little of the old mixed in with some of the new. Over 10,000 fans on hand at Ralph Wilson Stadium for the unveiling. Little pomp and circumstance. And
look at us so excited about the new look jerseys. Bills Mafia will show up to anything.
That big charging Buffalo logo, like the home uniform.
Bills related, boy. We will pack a stadium just to look at some jerseys. We don't give a shit.
They had the event there.
There they are.
One of the nice things, they had military personnel help unveil the jerseys, as well as some of the Bills legends like Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas. But well, you be the judge. I like the home uniforms, not big on the road. I said that, so we'll move on. But hey, football season, hopefully we'll get here.
So funny, man.
1983. They're bringing back the white helmets too. We forgot to mention that. So a very big change for the look of the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, it's a tough season, no doubt, Lynn.
The lockout comes to an end, and That
I have us
off
as definitely
an
a Super
insane
Bowl
week
contender this
where
year,
all of
100%,
free
man.
agency and
I think we
everything
win a
that goes
Super Bowl
into
either this
all
year,
the
or next year.
off-season workouts
In the next 2
conditioning
seasons,
has
I
to be
got us going to
condensed into
Super
1
Bowl.
week.
Win a
What
Super
was
Bowl.
that week like?
It was the confirmation that Twitter was a fantastic.
But you know what?
invention.
Time will tell, man.
There was
We got
no
We got to
time.
see
There
it.
was- yeah, well,
We got to see
that's a discussion.
what they could do on the
But
field, right?
There was no leaving. I wonder if
The
that
blue
happened in
reminds me of the
2001, it would
Colts.
have been
A
different.
little
You'd have to,
bit,
you
a
know,
little
Pay
bit.
attention to TV updates and whatever. But that was the craziest NFL news offseason week that I can ever remember, because there were signings, there were releases, all that stuff that you would normally have over the period of mid-March to like late April happened in 7 days. And it was fun. It was, as much as the lockout was uncertain and nervous and what's going to happen to our precious football, that week was made up for it in spades. It was just awesome every day.
And then in that week of free agency, the Bills sign Tyler Thigpen to be the backup. They bring in Nick Barnett out of Green Bay, the Super Bowl champ.
Nick Barnett.
Brad Smith.
I remember him.
Wildcat.
He wasn't bad.
Big news from free agency is they lose Paul Posluszny.
Oh, Paz is gone.
A guy that had some good moments, but was injury prone. I wouldn't say he was a great Bill.
That's right,
more known
Scott.
for his time at Penn State.
See, I like
Brad,
Scott
your
knows the
interactions
deal.
with
Scott knows the
Posluszny,
deal.
What was he like? And your thoughts?
What'd you guys think about Paz? Were you guys a fan of Paz?
Guy, never afraid to
I
talk
like
to-
Paz.
to
He
a
was a good
camera.
player.
Never had a problem with him. I think at the time he was probably a little bit underrated. He was more of a lunch pail guy. He wasn't like Luke Kuechly. It's going to blow you away with big plays, or Von Miller or something like that. He is going to go out and make tackles. Be in the right gap, cover the right receiver.
Lynn says, yes, sir. Lynn like Paz. Okay.
During the years that he was connected with, no one really.
Yeah. I got you.
But
you,
he was a
Bob.
good player who has been continually a guy you can count on in Jacksonville since.
Yeah, and he's, like you said, he's still in the league, but I think generally Bills fans say he was a huge disappointment, because they, the hype up for him out of Penn State was pretty big, and he immediately got hurt, and things never really were right. He was in the lineup, and you always expected, like, well, when's the other shoe?
It was the injuries a little bit. I understand that too, but man, when he was
how
on the
many
field,
bones can he actually break? It seems to me like-
I mean, I get, you know what? Matt Milano, right? Like Milano,
big game changer.
it's kind of like Paz in a way, right? Like just
plays and none of the
on when healthy.
In the highlights later.
And you
The
mentioned,
dude,
like, when Aaron
the dude
Schobel
goes out there and
retired,
balls
that,
out. But
no opposing offense game plan for Schobel.
couldn't
I
stay
can't
healthy.
imagine they could.
Man, they
For-
are a
for
lot
guy who
alike
plays
if you think
45
about it.
games over 4 years.
Milano and him, the way their careers kind of went in
Yeah,
Buffalo.
which isn't a bad thing, but yeah.
That's
there was
right.
no
That's right,
defense
Scott.
saying, Paul Posluszny, we got to make sure we know where 51 is on every play.
and just how bad the defense
You think he was better than Zoe? I don't know, man.
He can be a
Zoe
pretty
was.
impressive player on the field, but when,
I was
when they're
a
giving
big
up,
fan
they're
of
giving up
Alonzo,
to,
man.
LT and the Jets, and
right, yes.
when they're giving up multiple 100-yard rushers on the same team in the same game, like he can make 10 tackles, and you're like, well,
they're all 7 yards
that's great.
downfield.
Yeah, he was in position when everyone else wasn't.
51. That's my number too. That was my beeper code.
Okay.
The Bills lose
when I was young.
their offense in training camp.
51. So I always say that's my favorite number. 51.
Evans is 30 years old. He's been with the team for 7 years. He's had a lot of crappy quarterbacks throwing him the football. Just to see Lee Evans, a guy that was an upset.
Yeah, Lee Evans goes to Baltimore, I
go to a
believe.
contender now. Was there kind of a feeling, almost like in the same way that like Boston embraced Ray Bortman?
So we lost a couple players this
he has a chance to win the cup. Was there
this
kind of a
season,
sense that,
guys?
okay, Lee Evans, you're free now. you can go win with someone else.
I don't think at the time. I think at the time there was mostly surprise that the Bills made the move, because this move, as it turns out, was made because the Bills coaching staff really loved Donald Jones and thought he could play that other wide receiver option.
Oh, okay.
At the
Kiko.
time, I was very surprised by the move. I disagree with it. I think looking
I
back,
don't mind.
considering
I
we
didn't
haven't
mind
got football
Kiko,
in the years after
but
this,
I
like
think
being
he
a
was in the
fourth-round
wrong
pick was
era of
an excellent
football,
move.
man.
But
You know what I mean? Like, he would have been perfect in like
that came up when the Ravens
the
played
80s and
playoffs.
early
And Bills
90s,
fans
mid,
suddenly
you
were
know,
in anybody's
early
winning
90s to
mode.
mid
Everyone,
90s.
oh, yeah. Lee
He
Evans
could have got
won the
away with a
Super Bowl,
lot.
that'd be
You know,
great.
there
At the
wasn't
time,
that
it was
many
all about
penalties, and
Yeah,
the dude played.
there was not
He
really
was
enough
very
time to go
physical,
for
and
Lee Evans, who was very good.
he played a certain way,
Like
man.
you-
But I
again,
didn't mind Kiko. He just
because it always is the quarterback.
he couldn't
But the Bills had,
transition into
these
the
wide
new wave of
receivers that
football, I guess,
could
with the
play and
rules and
obviously
stuff.
stood out.
Like,
This seemed more like the rise of Stevie Johnson.
Y'all remember
He
that.
became the number one and was dynamic. And
he wasn't
they
too kind with
decided
quarterback
trading for
sliding.
draft
Put it
picks
that way.
is a thing they seem to do a lot in this era. And like, well, fine, but it wasn't really it wasn't like this life-changing thing. So it's like, oh, Stevie Johnson's team now. All right.
While Lee Evans was a productive first-round pick, someone that was not productive as a first-round pick is released 3 days later, Mr. Aaron Maben. And
Aaron Maben gets
say whatever you want
released.
about Paul Posluszny,
There's a draft bust.
Aaron Maben is exponentially worse.
Now he didn't do shit.
I don't know if he's the worst pick of the drought. Maybe he is. Actually, now that
He's up there. What do you guys think? Maven, is he the worst draft pick in the drought?
Because they traded up. They made
McCargo was bad too. Yeah.
Lossman too.
Yeah, true. Lossman
I remember that too.
For a little while. John McCargo was never that.
I don't know what scheme he fits at that size, unless you're a strong safety or something. He just he says his metabolism, and maybe that's what it is, but he couldn't hold weight. When you miss on a pick that high, it sets you back because you keep trying to fill that void. And that's the reason we took a little longer. We needed him, and we wanted him to come through, and we wanted to make sure we gave him every opportunity. It just didn't work out.
People still talk about Aaron Maven. No one cares about Mike Williams.
Man, was he a draft bust, man?
Franchise put the franchise in such a worse state. Like that was the start of the drought. Really, is making that move.
I mean, Mike Williams it
didn't work out.
Really bad
Maven
too.
Is someone that people still talk about today. And we'll talk about until they make the playoffs and maybe forever.
I mean, that's the thing is you think about the players that the Bills have had over the drought. Which players have elicited like the most visceral reaction from fans? Maven is in that conversation with Lossman. Yes. I think it's those two. Rob Johnson. Yeah, but that was.
Yeah, but Rob Johnson was a trade.
Rob Johnson
with the drought.
Yeah, even though he obviously was there for it at the very beginning, but it
was really visceral. I mean, you had this discussion. Yeah. I mean, 1 year of Rob Johnson might have equaled Aaron Maven's entire career with Buffalo.
It just wasn't his fault though. Like that's the thing about Johnson that I've learned. You asked me what I've learned about the drought. That offensive line was so bad, and they were.
Oh, stop! Rob Johnson was bad,
and it was just managed poorly. And obviously, he did not play well. There's no question about that. But there were major concussion issues that nobody.
He left Buffalo, and he didn't do anything. He was terrible.
Well, the other part of it too is not being his fault is exactly right. The reason his
so it's not like he left Buffalo and did something.
Because Doug Flutie's on the other side.
Exactly.
If there was a Doug Flutie that played the other defensive end or was picked right after Aaron Maven, we'd be a different discussion.
Right.
Doug Flutie different discussion. We could go for an hour on that. What if Doug Flutie played defensive end? Everybody loved it. Yeah.
All right, so with all of that said, we finally get into week 1 of the 2011 season.
Week 1, here we come.
Here we go. To Kansas City, Missouri. Special teams force a fumble on the opening kickoff, and the Bills have a spectacular afternoon. They go on to win 41-7. Fitz throws for 208 yards, 4 touchdowns, has a 133 passer rating.
Look at that, guys.
Fred Jackson, 20 carries for 112
Looks like we're breaking the drought here in 2011.
Everything goes well. Stevie Johnson has a touchdown.
No
fellow by the name of Scott
I could not
Chandler,
imagine.
signed at the end of the previous season, has 2 touchdowns in this game. First opening road win for the Bills since 1996.
Look at us.
Could not have gone better.
Yeah. It was just one game.
2011. We're breaking the drought, guys.
31-0 New England game memory. I mean, they'd actually won. It seems like they had won openers semi-regularly from maybe.
Oh, hey, come on.
12,
leave
whatever.
JP alone.
1-0 wasn't.
Don't you put JP in that category.
The real Bills show up.
I was actually a JP fan. I have his jersey.
But other than that, they had pretty good showings. And
you leave JP alone.
Like, oh, okay, well that's interesting because it's not that the Chiefs were supposed to be amazing. It was just that they
How dare you put him in the category with Nathan Peterman?
Home. Yeah. You think that
you spanked the Chiefs in Arrowhead. That's something.
Yeah, that's a test, and they passed it 100%. And then keep going.
Yeah.
Well, the following week 2.
Here we go. Can we get another win?
Home opener. They trailed 21-3 at halftime to the Oakland Raiders. The Bills rattle off 21 straight points. Fitz leads the fourth quarter comeback. David Nelson has a game-winning touchdown.
David Nelson, you remember him?
Seconds left. The Bills win 38-35. Ralph misses the home opener.
2-0, baby.
In the 52-year history of the Buffalo Bills. He is 92 at the time.
Ralph getting old.
35 and
missing
this
games.
Is a team in back-to-back weeks that has put up 35 points or more.
Look at us on fire,
we've
huh?
Seen hot starts. 08, 03, 02.
Now, what were you guys thinking here in 2011? We're 2-0.
No, the first Bledsoe year they
scoring
lost,
a lot of points already. Are you guys thinking this is it? This is the year we break the drought?
This stupid team. But yeah, so a 2-0 start with a lot of points from the offense. Just the thought. After
that is true. That is true, Track. Absolutely, because he had the tool. He had all the tools to be a good quarterback. Mobile, good arm.
New England's coming next week,
but
then we'll find out.
Too cocky and didn't want it.
In week 3,
he just didn't put it all together, man.
Second quarter, Welker and Gronk
and injury. He got injured right away too. That didn't help.
And 2 touchdowns. Fred Jackson 74 yards and a score. Stevie, 94 yards and a touchdown.
Woo!
Scott Chandler, his 4th straight game with the
Scott
touchdown.
Chandler.
Drayton Florence has a pick 6 off Tom Brady. The Bills intercept Brady 4 times. They made it on the cover of Sports Illustrated again.
We're on that side, baby.
31-0 win back in 2003. The Bills win 34-31 as Lindell kicks a game winner late.
Yeah. 3-0.
Wow.
What are you guys thinking here
Game losing streak
at that time?
Snapped. The Bills beat.
I want to know. Are you guys thinking this is a potential playoff team here in 2011?
One of the playoff seasons.
Of course, I remember. I was hyped up. I'm not going to lie. Like 3-0, you're scoring, 30 plus a game.
I imagine
you're like, okay, something's brewing here. Like, you just beat the Patriots. We just beat the Patriots. Like
a party. No one wanted to leave.
100%. I was thinking maybe this is it. This could be the year.
The outside of the stadium, the people were going crazy. It felt like the Bills.
But then look, see the very bottom of the screen there, from FitzMagic to FitzTragic. Oh no!
Well, now this wasn't a winning question. This wasn't a game that you say, you won, but. This was a legit win.
And then there was EJ Manuel and Jeff Toole, yes.
Found a way. Fred Jackson catches like a little swing pass, takes down to the goal line, and they kick a chippy to win the game right at the buzzer. Everything, drama, comeback, Patriots, home, 3-0. It had everything. And it was the best feeling after a Bills game, I think, bar none, for the existence of the drought, all 17 years. This was the game that felt, wow.
3 seconds left. Ryan Lindell, it's good.
You know what's funny, guys?
Is lifted off.
I remember this. I actually brung this up to Mikey a month ago. I don't even know why I brung it up, but I remember this because it was the last drive, and we purposely, I think we could have scored a touchdown or something like that, and we purposely I think we kneeled or Fred stopped or something like that, just so they had nothing left, no time to score. And I remember this game-winning field goal. So, yeah, man, I just remember this game. I remember that ending was a chip shot field goal, and it was executed perfectly, like that whole drive and giving them no time to respond. Perfect, man. I would like to see a quarterback room of JP and Tyrod. Yeah, that would have been interesting. But I do remember this game, man. I do remember this game.
Bills with a stunner. 34.
Get out of here, Tom, you loser.
They're the only undefeated team in the AFC.
Woo!
John Kuchko, what a win.
Yeah.
It was a case of deja vu.
Look at the smiles on Bills fans, huh?
Down 21-3 to the Raiders.
We're going all the way in 2011.
They fast become the cardiac kids, and the end result was an improbable victory.
Look at Stevie.
If you're going to be successful, you got to win tough ball games.
Woo!
3-0 against good football teams. And
tell him, Chan.
That's a good football team we just played.
There were probably very few believers in us going into this game, especially when we spotted them the points early.
Tell him, Fitz.
Anybody that believed in us was probably, on the edge. And we had so much belief, and we came back and scored the 10 points.
God, what a great start to a season, right? And you just beat the Patriots. You're scoring a lot of points. What up, Fred?
But
and it all just came crashing
out of that locker room is, we're 1-0 in the division.
We know in the previous games that we
George Wilson, my buddy,
we've done a lot of beating ourselves, and so we just came in at halftime. We've been in this position before. We just had to line up and play and win individual battles.
Good point.
A play at a time.
Probably not.
These people in here, and we brought it home. Let's go.
The win today, even
are you guys getting excited? Are you guys ready for the playoffs?
Like Thurman Thomas.
Come on. Are you all ready or what?
They needed pressure on Tom Brady to
come on, guys. You should be getting excited right now.
The Bills got turnovers, 4 of them. Maybe Brady had a bad game. Sure, they got a couple big bounces. But no matter what, the Bills will certainly take.
You could just tell, they're believing it. They're right. The reporters
change. Guys
we were a little down early, giving up those seam routes to 87, but guys honed in and played the techniques, and the more we can do that and turn the ball over and get sacks on defense, the better we're going to be at the end of the game.
We had to mix up some calls and change some things up because he was shredding us early on in the game. So we just regrouped, talked to each other, said we got to win the one-on-one individual battles.
Things change fast. They do. They
Tom Brady
to make a few turnovers. Before halftime, we're going in to score, and they got. Brian Scott.
Oh, we'll take that, Tom.
Down, score. You let them back in the game like that. A team that.
Oh, we'll take another one.
Like they are, and they take advantage of it.
Now the Bills will go to Cincinnati next week, and there's still a lot of season left. But right now,
this is great,
there is
man.
No goal, there is no dream that isn't reasonable.
Lynn's ready for September. Is this getting you hyped up?
It's the most joyous moment of the
3-0, baby.
And the anticipation leading up to that game was exactly what you said. Like, yes, they beat Oakland.
Lynn's ready for some football. Seeing this great start to a season.
And it was a stunning win because of how the game started. Of course, they were a mess, and then Brady's balls started getting tipped, and they kept catching them. And it's an amazing game in hindsight because what happens next makes it feel you start to see through it, and you're like, well, they had to intercept Brady 4 times to beat them.
Right.
There were all kinds of weird things that happened.
They scored a touchdown, and Fitz throws a ball up for grabs in the end zone, gets a pass interference call, gets them down to the goal line, which it should have been a pick.
They needed every single thing to go.
Lynn was hyped up for sure.
But Shane Daly outcoached the team. That's the only. I still can't believe that it happened, but because Jackson caught that ball.
These are the times.
These initially thought it was a touchdown.
What memories, man!
Because they would have had time left to go down and score again.
Because I'm just.
They had Fitzpatrick kneel at the goal line.
Everything's coming back when I watch these videos and
give touchdown time, no time to make things happen.
And I almost forgot about some of this stuff, man.
Because they were actually doing what they should do. They've had games in the drought where
brings me back, man.
Foxborough, and things haven't happened. They've also gotten blown out completely, but there have been 3 or 4 games where things could have gone right if they got a break. They got every break, and then they actually executed it well. And you could not have been more excited about this team and where it was going. And I was at the game, and we bought tickets on a whim from a friend, and it's the best Bills game I've ever been to. And now I cover the team.
That might go double for me.
Right. And I feel no joy about the team at all. And I cover them, and it's very cut and dry.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can tell when a game means something, and when it's exciting. And that meant it meant that this is happening. The team is good. They can score points. It's gonna be okay.
In 17 years, covering this team has been filled with cynicism. You can't help but not feel that way. There have been 2 times where I've been on a field at a Bills game but not felt that way. Number 1 was when Nate Clements ran the interception back.
I remember screaming for Fred not to score the touchdown. Yes.
That year. And
so you do remember Crazy Climber.
You're on the
he was smart. He didn't.
And whether you cover the team or not, and you try to be objective.
That was a brilliant drive.
Enjoy 80,000 people.
And it's a different story
crazy.
than what you've covered for years.
That also helps too. Yeah.
Eric Wood.
Following week, the Bills.
Look how excited they are, man. You know what I mean? Because they've been losing for so long. Start a season like that.
You win by the comeback.
Too bad it didn't end.
Too
bad it didn't end good.
Outplayed them. Rookie quarterback Andy Dalton.
I remember immediately.
Andy Dalton, rookie Andy Dalton.
Did not see this coming. All the emotion.
Red Rifle.
You go on the road against a rookie quarterback, so not much of a book on the guy. A team that has talent. AJ Green's the receiver there at that point.
AJ Green.
How did you not see it coming? And granted, it wasn't.
He was good for a while.
They picked up a couple of calls late from reviews and officiating, and one on a late field goal. So it wasn't like they blew them out, and Buffalo they were up 17-3 in the game. So Buffalo didn't show up flat. Yeah, but you just felt like at some point the wind is going to come out of the balloon.
Well, Dalton played pretty poorly in the first half.
Yes.
And he looked very much like a rookie quarterback. And I mentioned him earlier because he turned it on. He realized that he had AJ Green, and also Jermaine Gresham had a really good game for them. And that was, it was a sign of trouble, I would say, because you felt like things were going really well. And again, this is great. They're up again on the road. This is a team they beat
17-3 and half.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's a team that they beat.
We were up.
Cincinnati was good.
Imagine, God, man, getting that win. You're 4-0 instead of 3-1.
Just for some reason,
you got to win those. You got to win that kind of game. Up 17-3, but
upset at all about maybe a little bit. But I think after 2-0, you're thinking they would be 3-1. You just thought the wins would be reversed.
Right.
And looking back at it, if you were going to pick one game to win, you absolutely wanted it to be the division game and the Patriots. So 3-1, okay, fine. We're still 3-1 where we thought we'd be. We actually got a better win out of the deal. No problem. Let's keep going.
Week 5, the Bills are back home. They host the Philadelphia Eagles. Mike Vick is the quarterback of this one. And once
Mike
again,
Vick.
turnovers turning into points for the Buffalo Bills. Nick Barnett has a 31-yard pick six off Mike Vick. Vick 4 interceptions,
We'll take
career
that.
high for him. Freddie, 26 carries, 111 yards and a score, 6 receptions, 85 yards. He looks like the MVP.
Look at
in the early
Fred, huh?
In 2011. Brad Smith, the Wildcat.
I remember him.
Quarterback has a 12-yard touchdown. The Bills win 31-24. So the bad taste that
4-1.
is gone. The Bills are 4-1 with a win over the Eagles.
On
And this is the point where I
fire.
started to think, how many defensive touchdowns are they going to get this year? You know, how many of these things that you don't usually see happen are, you know, 4 interception games by opposing quarterbacks that are pretty good. You know, it was good. Everyone was excited. They're still scoring points. But this was the game. I remember after the Barnett play, I'm like, all right, this is really what the formula is going to be for 16 games. This is what we're going to do all year. I mean, cool, 4-1, but this is not going to hold up. And then what happens?
If I'm not mistaken, this is the year that the Bills Mafia starts, right? Isn't it?
Indeed.
That's the Nick Barnett acquisition that he.
It actually
he
is.
Says,
I think it is.
I think he
He's the
says
guy,
it on
yeah,
Twitter, and
yeah.
that's
Because Stevie Johnson, it was a crew of Barnett and Johnson.
Mafia. Have you guys heard of this Bills Mafia? It's this group of Bills fans, all on Twitter, all connected. And this thing, it's going to blow up. Just ask the players.
Oh, the Bills Mafia is a movement, baby. So I think it's definitely
See?
a perfect name for our fans. Bills Mafia sounds like a more dominant, stronger group. Check them out, the Bills Mafia.
Even you guys can be a part of it. It's free.
All you have to do, go to Twitter and search the Bills Mafia. Oh, wait a second. How'd this whole thing get started?
It is a complete accident.
It began as an
There's
inside
Del
joke
Reed.
between 3 huge Bills fans on Twitter. Delmar Reed, Leslie Willie, and Breon Harris. Their goal was real, to unite fans and always stick up for the Bills players.
Now we have an identity. You know, the term nation is thrown around with so many
Got
different
young
sports teams.
Del Reed.
I don't think anybody else has a mafia.
But for months, no one knew about it until the Bills players themselves saw how the fans always
This is
had
true.
their backs and embraced the new term.
On Twitter, I get.
So
a
really,
person
guys,
just retweeted
and I
it,
mentioned
Bills
this the
Mafia
other
get
day.
after 'em. Y'all better watch what y'all say. The Bills Mafia go get y'all.
With the players talking about it, Bills Mafia blew.
I mentioned this the other day about Stevie because Stevie was really the guy that kind of got it started, tweeting it out more, like, you know, because Del Reed and them it was just a group of friends and they would mention it on Twitter, but it wasn't really a thing. It was more about a thing about, like, you know, within their group in a way. But then Stevie tweeting it out kind of got the momentum going. And then obviously Nick Barnett was part of that, Aaron Williams. But, you know, Stevie got it going, and Stevie was actually a comp pick. I forget for who, but so if we don't get that comp pick, Stevie doesn't come here, maybe that Bills Mafia doesn't really take off. You get what I'm saying, guys? Like, I'm not saying it wouldn't have, but it's possible it doesn't. So, you know, once again, you know, obviously credit Del Reed and the group for, you know, his friends for kind of coming up with the term. But those 3 players, especially Stevie Johnson, are the ones that kind of got that ball rolling. And it just kind of, you know, that snowball effect, right? And yeah, it took off from there, man. It really did. And then, of course, the Buffalo Bills come in and swoop in, and I forget what year it was, and trademarked it. Can you imagine if Del Reed, when that thing was starting to really get popping, if he would have trademarked that at the time? Man, because the Bills would have had to pay him. The Buffalo Bills would have had to pay him for the trademark of Bills Mafia. But I don't know why they never did. I don't know why, because I think I want to say it was 2021, I think, is when the Buffalo Bills trademarked the term Bills Mafia. Now, look, I'm sure they had some type of agreement with Del Reed for, you know, something, because if you notice, he's on some videos they do, and I'm sure they gave him something, you know, but not nearly what they're making off the trademark, what they're making off Bills Mafia merchandise and all that shit, because you can't sell, you know, Bills Mafia stuff on eBay or what. Like, they will come after you. You know what I mean? So Buffalo Bills. They came in and like hawks and absolutely took an idea that wasn't theirs but wasn't trademarked and are making millions from Bills Mafia, the name, the term, and the licensing and all that stuff, and on products, and it's crazy, guys. So once again, kind of live and learn there. Del Reed would have probably been a millionaire right now, because more than likely probably would have sold it to him. I'm assuming, but they would have had to give him a pretty good amount of money to take that. But anyways, that's how it all got going, guys. I hope that's interesting enough for you.
Up in 5 days, over 750 new followers had joined the movement. Delmar created a logo,
700
website, BillsMafia.com.
Did you see that? Like, that's a big fucking deal.
And embrace the new term.
On Twitter, I get a negative person. I just
750 followers.
Watch y'all say the Bills Mafia will get y'all.
With the players talking about it, Bills Mafia blew up in 5 days. Over 750 new followers had joined the movement. Delmar created a logo and a website, BillsMafia.com.
There's people who have
that's no longer, I'm sure. I haven't even looked. It ain't his if it is.
Sort of went from 0 to 60 in a matter of a couple days, and we're just sort of going with the flow right now.
That flow could bring the Bills
they
Mafia
all would have been
together
paid right
for a
now.
game
That whole
early
group right there.
October. You know, it'd be nice to meet all these fans in
Should
real
have
life,
trademarked it.
including the other founder, Breon. Delmar and Leslie got a head start.
No, we actually just met about 15 minutes ago.
Corey Heppola,
Yeah.
News 8.
It was a fun new thing. It was, again, social media being explored for the first time by a lot of us, especially in sports. And that was
the big company, boy, coming in.
Nick Barnett was the catalyst or the one.
Take your idea.
And it became, not everybody likes Bills Mafia, but for the most part, especially the things that Del Reed has accomplished.
That's insane, man. If you really think about it, guys, that is fucking insane.
Is positive. The jumping through the tables aside. So
Del has done really great things with 26 shirts and the origins of that, what it's become is very strange, and
it's morphed and shifted so many times over 6 years.
Yeah, but he's done really great work, and it kind of shows that the passion. I actually wrote about this, and I said it's the best possible result of watching a bad team is that you're doing something good with it. You're trying to
I remember some fans were pissed when the Buffalo Bills trademarked it.
We know what's coming.
Yeah.
maybe the viewer doesn't know.
Week 6, the Bills go on the road to the Giants. Fred Jackson has another
dude
game. Fred Jackson,
absolutely, bro. I would have told him
16 carries,
the amount of money you're going to make
for 80 yards.
Great run. One of my
bro, I don't know. I would have asked for a lot of money, bro.
244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 to Stevie Johnson, 1 to Nate.
And they would have paid. That's the funny part.
Mafia folklore hero.
That's chump change for them.
But Fitz has 2 interceptions in the second half, and we're seeing the Fitz that we now really know, really starting to emerge as those breaks don't show up for the Bills in this game. Ahmad Bradshaw runs for 3 touchdowns. The Giants win 27-24. So the Bills win by 4-2.
4-2. Okay, we're all right, folks. We're still okay. We're okay.
This current
don't worry, we're still a playoff team right now.
Seminal figure.
We're gonna make the playoffs.
Ken Hall dies.
4-2. We're fine.
To see, we've watched throughout the drought as the stars and the heroes from the Super Bowl era get older and a little grayer, a little doughier, but they were all still there. To lose Kent Hall, how big of a hit was that at that time?
It hurt. It hurt. He was, a central part of that team. I mean, no pun intended. I mean, I could say pun intended, but he was the center. And one of the things about that is passing during the bye week, I think it gave it more power, and I think deservedly so. If it had happened in the middle of 2 games, it would have been something we talked about Tuesday, Wednesday, and then there would have been a game coming up, and that would have been it. Because it had been during the bye, I think it allowed it to become something that Bills fans respected a little more. And again, it was appropriate that he got that kind of attention for his passing.
We now know the cause of death for former Bills great Kent Hull. He died of intestinal bleeding.
Oh.
He was only 50 years old. Hull played 11 seasons with the Bills. He was the center for those 4 Super Bowl teams. Hull was great friends with Jim Kelly. In fact,
those are pretty dope helmets. I like those helmets.
1996 season. Well, today, Hull's former teammates and coaches talked about him, not only as a player, but what a great person he was.
he was a real unifying force behind, guys. Even in the locker room back when we played, it was between offense and defense. Big guys, little guys, black guys, white guys, Southern guys, Northern guys, West Coast, East. Kent had the real ability to reach across all those lines and make guys really love and respect each other.
The thing you could say about Kent Hall was I saw where Jim Kelly, said he was his best friend. Well, there was a lot of people that thought Kent Hall was their best friend. He just was that kind of guy.
I mean, he set the standard around here for interior linemen. I guess this always happens, but I never really appreciated it and never did the due research till he passed about how good of a player he was.
So Friday, October 28th,
Eric Wood looks like
at least for Ryan Fitzpatrick,
that kid
and
from
he
Bad
agrees
Santa.
to a 6-year, $59 million extension as the Bills are 4-2. Why are you making this move now?
Well, he had played well enough to where you'd think he'd be a term starter. I don't want to say long term, but it wasn't like they were like, maybe we don't have to look for a quarterback right away. And that contract average is a little less than
paying Fitz already.
That's not.
We're like, we got this. We're 4-2. We got lock Fitz in.
Above mid quarterback dollars.
Lock him on in, man. He's the future.
So if he had continued to play, and I'd almost say that with a straight face, if he had continued to play at that level, it would have been a bargain deal. And that was the argument for at the time. And they're 4-2. They're scoring points. Fitz is putting up number. And again, compared to what Bills had previously,
that's where they got excited, right?
Let's
They're
not
like,
sign Fitz so we can go back and find another.
Look at the difference we're getting out of Fitz. We got to pay.
No one.
We need a quarterback to stay here.
Pro argument for Fitz. The con argument was pretty darn obvious. This is Fitz, and why are we locking him up for $60 million?
Well, it sort of goes to the idea of they're figuring it out. Right? That's why I asked earlier. Well, they had a pretty good draft. They're obviously winning now. For better or worse, because there were very bad moments for Fitzpatrick, and they came up even in the wins. But they thought they had the guy, and that's the justification of it is like, well, they think this is the guy. This is organizing organizing the cabinetry. We got it down now. This is where he goes.
We got our guy. We got Fitz.
Fine. And honestly, he really liked Buffalo, and that was a big part of it. I know right after that signing, I think he was in a Sports Illustrated article. They talked about these chili cookout things he'd do after after games, and it was like he this is our guy. We are going to embrace this guy. Warts and all.
It was more so than just numbers and wins too. I mean, this was the Amish rifle. It was FitzMagic. It was all of the things that Bills. Oh yeah, that too. That occasionally came up. Yes, but it was all of the intangible things too. This was the most beloved quarterback since Doug Flutie during the drought.
Yeah,
and maybe certainly the second
that's true.
Most Doug. And he was a guy that
I agree with that.
The Bills and their fans like no other quarterback had, and like many other stars really had not. So that was a part of it too. This was a galvanized the community type move, even if it didn't make a whole lot of sense football wise in terms of his career and the money he gave.
I'd probably be lying if I said that it's something I haven't even thought about all year. It's something you try not to think about, but certainly something that exists, that's in the air that I'm human too, so I can't just block all that away.
We're locking in a guy who we all like to play for and like catching passes from, and who we like leading our team. So I think it'd be a positive thing if we did.
Did you notice that real quick? That look, it seems like that before Bills Mafia.
I'd probably be lying if I said that
they're going with the Bills Nation
all year. It's something you try not to think about.
T-shirt there,
but certainly something
that didn't work out.
Exists that's in the air that you.
Bills Mafia a little bit better than Bills Nation. Though it's not terrible,
We're
but
locking in a guy who we all like to play for and like catching
Bills
passes
Mafia a
from,
little bit more sellable,
leading our team,
a little bit more
so I think
cooler.
it'd be a positive thing if we did.
You could tell in the way that people reacted to him how much they actually did like him, because when JP Lossman would make mistakes, they'd say, go back to wherever and disparage Tulane or whatever people would do. But with him, it was kind of like, oh well,
that's just how he is.
He's just trying his best out there, and like it's kind of like a rub his head with his buddies and sort of like, hey,
it's okay.
Well, coming off signing a big payday, the Bills go north of the border to Toronto to take on the Washington Professional Football Team.
Yeah, going to Toronto.
You were there for this one as John Beck is sacked 10 times by the Buffalo Bills. The Toronto series has been a disaster.
That's a lot of sacks.
The atmosphere has always
10
been bad.
sacks. That's
being on the field in the Rogers Center.
That's quite a bit.
For that perforance as the Bills blank Washington 23.
Man, can we get 10 sacks in a game this year? That'd be fucking great. Give me that.
The New England game was a party, This was this might be legit, because this wasn't a joke. This wasn't, turnovers or interceptions.
Give me 10 sacks in a game.
And it wasn't a beatdown. It was a beatdown in a spot where, Bills fans didn't like, just because it was Toronto. It was still a neutral site environment. So
under McDermott, we didn't get 10 sacks in 3 fucking games.
Coming out of that game. And unfortunately,
maybe 4. I don't know.
That Fitz took late in the first half.
Yeah, I was going to say, just the fact that at that moment, it seemed like, okay, Fitzpatrick takes this hit on a pass to Freddie Jackson. And, the rumors like, oh, he injured his ribs are hurt, he's got cracked ribs or something. And then, at least from what I gather, it seemed like it was kind of like a simmer, and then became more of a story down the season. Then, of course, after the season, when the Bills confirmed that, he played with cracked ribs the entire second half of the season.
Right.
And that, we talked about this a couple episodes ago when Trent Edwards suffered the concussion in Arizona and how he never was the same player after that. You can make the line of demarcation of Fitzpatrick was player A in the first
I didn't know
7
that,
games of
though.
the season,
I didn't know he
and
played with
after
cracked
this,
ribs
he's player
the rest of it.
what was that like
At the time, he didn't really talk about it, because he came right
It
back.
could have
in the game.
affected him a little bit.
And they win 23-0.
Yeah, exactly. So there's nothing you didn't really talk about it until after the next 3 games, because they get hammered 3 times in a row after this. So looking back,
here comes the losing.
Well, maybe he got
the
hurt.
losing's coming.
We all saw that looked really nasty. That maybe that did have an effect on him. Maybe more so than even he realized at the time. Although, like you said, it turns out.
Spoiler alert: we don't make the playoffs.
It took a while. And the
sorry, guys.
Before anyone really started talking about this as a season changer.
A little scary moment there, John, when London Fletcher got up underneath him, and the entire Bills team, and I think all of Bills Nation was letting out a collective gasp. But he came back. He's a tough guy. He's the ideal leader for this football team.
You're going to be okay,
Fitz.
Fitz.
Should be right now, and they're in real good shape.
All right, you can read them online at rochesterhomepage.net. For Scott
London
I'm
Fletcher.
John Kutchko with the Bills in Toronto.
Thanks a lot, London Fletcher.
The Bills are just the better team. Like you go,
way to hurt our quarterback.
Go, they're going to win that game. They're better than them. And you might not have thought that initially, but then you watch the game like, they're definitely better than Washington. This is great. And then, of course, there's it's the tragic flaw in the whole thing is that in the game where they arguably play their best, the worst possible thing happens to them.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that, like, they go into a game thinking like, that's usually against the Jacksonvilles, the Cincinnatis, who they spanked for the first 10 years of the drought. And in this game in Washington, for sure, they are the better team. Week 9, things start to turn as the Bills host the New York Jets and Rex Ryan. Ralph Wilson in attendance for the first time in 2011.
Ralph is back.
This will be the last time Ralph Wilson is in attendance at a Bills
and Ralph
game.
is gone after. Damn it,
Bills
Ralph.
wearing their white uniforms at home for the first time since 1986. Fitz picked off twice. Fred has a fumble in that game. Dominant, win 27-11.
The thing about that game, and you talked about the last time Ralph appeared at a
losing
game,
those no good New Jersey Jets.
Something that you can look back and say, at the time, you knew that was a possibility, because Ralph comes onto the field and it's
Ralph.
It's like 11:30 before the game starts.
Poor Ralph.
And he is on a cart, and he did a tour of the field, which is something that he did a lot, on his own. Maybe when he was an owner, did especially.
He knew his time was coming.
Felt different, to the point where myself as a cameraman on the field, I was following him all around the field, thinking that this might be the last video we ever have of Ralph Wilson on a field, maybe even alive.
Damn, that's wild, huh?
Essentially turned out to be true. So you knew how important that was, what a moment
last time he attended a game.
Too, that he wanted one less tour around the field.
Yeah, rest in peace. Absolutely.
The final score of the game was 27-11. It could have been 270-11 because the Jets
sucks too. His last game at the stadium.
Coming out of that,
we fucking lose to the Jets.
The Washington win.
You know what I mean? Like,
bad about
God, couldn't get a win for Ralph.
They got handled on both sides of the ball, and quickly the doubts come in about. We can't play. We need to play 18 times better than this just to compete the rest of the year, let alone win the 4 or 5 games it would take to make the playoffs.
Ralph's relationship with the media is always interesting to me because I entered it. I mean, obviously, I became a media member after the fact. He's not a part of my experience with the team.
Same here.
So I kind of wonder, what was his presence like on there? Was it significant? I know that he would, talk to people after games. That's really the extent of what I knew from the outside as a fan. But he was around a lot. Like, did the players care about that? Did it matter to the organization?
When Ralph stepped into a room, everybody noticed.
Yeah.
And especially earlier in the drought, when he was still a little more with it and a little more of a guy who could have an impact just with what he said. When he came in the locker room, you knew about it. If he was going to talk, you need to be ready for it. You need to be ready with a microphone in case he did talk. When he was on the field, you knew where he was. You wanted to get some shots of him just in case something happened. Not like you're looking for something negative, but just when he was on the field, his presence was important. and you wanted to be there to chronicle it, whether it was in a locker room after a game or pregame, getting ready for a game.
Week 10, the Bills go on the road to Dallas, and you thought everything was bad in that Jets game. It's even worse in the Lone Star State. The Cowboys win 24-7.
Oh no!
First time the Bills play in Jerry World.
What's going on, Buffalo? Come on!
Cowboys Stadium down there. Terrence Newman has a pick six of Fitz as he's intercepted 3 times. DeMarco Murray runs for 135 yards. You were at
things are starting to get bad.
Oh, I thought I set you up just thinking you had been there, but
whatever. It was not me. I did not see him. So this loss to Dallas wasn't a bad one.
We got whooped
next week to when the alarm bells really started to go with the Bills.
Yeah, and even before those alarm bells start ringing, Tuesday, November 15th, right after this Dallas loss, Eric Wood placed on injured reserve with the torn ACL. So now you have the anchor of both your offensive and defensive lines done for the year with 5-6 games left to go in the regular season. And then you get into week 11, November 20th, in Miami. The Dolphins led 28-3 in the first half. And this game was never close. Dolphins never trailed. Dolphins win 35-8. So now in this 3-game stretch, you've had 2 beatdowns by division opponents.
Getting fucking whooped.
Gone from 5-2 to 5-5.
Remember the final game versus the Pats? It's kind of the inverse of the first match. Hot start, dreadful finish. Got outscored 40.
First of all, Dallas and the Jets were not.
Oh my God! For leading 21-0. Yeah,
to do it a third time.
That's brutal.
To do it against a division rival, not named New England or not named the Jets, who are coming off 2 AFC Championship appearances at the time, was very disconcerting. And as like you pointed out, it wasn't a slow beat down to where they scored a lot of points late. This game was over at halftime. This is the game, by the way, that I think led to Charles Clay becoming a Bill. Because this was like the Charles Clay breakout game for Miami. He was great. I mean, he only had like 4 catches, but he had a 40-yarder on 3rd down, caught a touchdown. This was a game where Charles Clay first really died.
Charles Clay.
And the injury bug rears its head again for the Bills coming after this game as Terrence McGee, Donald Jones, and Fred Jackson all placed on injured reserve. Yeah. So at this point, even though there's still 6 games remaining, the season's over.
We're losing players left and right. We're getting our asses
whooped.
Whooped.
Sense of like, can they hold
boy.
People, you can start to look back at like,
things are just falling apart.
You should have beat Cincinnati. Then you'd be
one Buffalo.
Playoffs then.
Come on.
3 in a row like that was so crushing. And again, like you said, they weren't good teams either. Dallas was struggling to win.
All right, new Bills fans that are watching this, are you realizing what we went through yet?
And
are you understanding
kept a lot
the
of these guys
fucking
healthy,
bullshit that we had to go through as Bills Mafia?
At this point, they were getting exposed as a team. You don't think, well, if Fitz is injured, they probably would have been 7-9 at best this year.
And Fred Jackson at the beginning of the season looks, almost like perhaps an MVP candidate.
Oh, big time. He wasn't terrible, but
and then
he was a fullback that transitioned to a tight end. And
week 11, week 12, the Jets.
He was okay. I didn't hate him, but
Meadowlands.
I didn't love him either. You know what I mean?
Late in the first half. I just wanted to point this out because it's, Stevie.
Yeah. Yes.
Scores a touchdown late in the first half. Pretends he's Plaxico Burress, who's playing for the Jets at the time. And pretends to
this is great.
And he goes down, crumpled.
I talked to Stevie Johnson, by the way, about
15
this.
15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty. The Jets now have an opportunity.
Shit was so funny.
And Dave Rayner, who's filling in for the injured Ryan Lindell, whiffs on the kickoff. The Jets recover at the Buffalo 36, and they score a touchdown with a minute to go in the first half. And all of it just, you could talk about the errors that some of the Bills made because the team was thin at a lot of positions. These are unforced errors. This is a guy taking an unsportsmanlike penalty that he does not need to take at all, and a kickoff guy missing the football. Like, you're a pro. You don't whiff.
It wasn't a
wow. He whiffed on the kickoff. I don't remember that. That's fucking wild.
Johnson, you can't do dumb things like this.
Yeah, there it is.
Get away with it because that's the Jets don't score points if Rayner hits the ball.
That shit was great.
It definitely swings the the conversation about Johnson, who people loved for a long time. And this is the
beginning of the end.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the end. And I mean, right now, sitting here in 2017, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Like it's one of the things I forgot about, and I lit up when I heard you say this. I was like, oh yeah, he did that. That's awesome. But also, like it was a complete disaster in the game, and then it totally.
Outside of the game too, it was dumb.
We were fucking done by that point. Who gives a shit?
For 15
Have some fun.
The serious game was the year before, and he's had other unsportsmanlike penalties after touchdowns. But this one, you just go like, Stevie, that's great. Just Don't do that in the end zone. Or
But he
like,
was trusted. Like they got rid of Lee Evans. He was trusted to be the number one. You assume that well, he's maturing. He's doing this now, and there was no real reason to do that. You don't need to do that. It's
years later. The Plaxico thing happened in 2008.
It was very stupid of me, you know what I'm saying? Going through that, and I feel like I cost our team a win on that. It cost our team 7 points, and I just have to apologize to everybody, talk to coach, you know what I mean? And I can't be doing that. I got to be more mature.
Chan not happy with
I don't
Stevie.
think he's a bad person whatsoever. I think he's a good person. I think he has some bad judgment at critical times, and I got to help him get over that. We cannot have that, and that's. It hurts our football team.
I would definitely not put that on Steve. I mean, Steve was having fun, man. Enjoying
There
himself.
you
That's what we
go.
need to do out here. Defense out there.
Have some fun.
Drive. We had an opportunity to get off the field.
Fucking terrible team.
I think it was 3 third downs. And we
Gives
couldn't
a
use it off
shit.
the field, and we didn't do it.
We should have been up 7, but a stupid decision by myself led to a win for the Jets. That's how I see it.
Johnson said the celebration wasn't planned. He was just trying to have fun. But as he said, when facing a firing squad of media after the game, I'm paying for it now.
That was the only thing anyone talked about in that game. Things happened in there.
my
It was
God.
but it was
McDermott would have put him in the
whole
fucking
thing.
doghouse for 2 games.
Yeah, nobody talks about Mark Sanchez and his 82-yard game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. That happened in this game.
Yeah.
No one remembers that. I had to look that one up.
Nice catch to Santonio Holmes. That was a great play by Sanchez. Yeah, it was right in front of me. I remember that one vividly.
Jets win 28-24, so the Bills and their hot start is now currently 5-6 after they've lost
Yeah.
4 straight.
They're DED dead.
They stick a fork in them. They're done. The following week, the Bills come back home to host the Tennessee Titans. Game's blacked out. First blackout of the season. Titans win 23-17.
Bills Mafia's like,
December 7th,
I'm good.
date,
I'm not going to game.
which is important to me because it's my first date News 8. There you go. So yeah. The following Sunday, week 14, the Bills in San Diego. Remember, John Kutchko was at that game and thinking like, oh, we travel. We get to go to San Diego. Like, it's your first week. You don't get to go to San Diego.
Now, News 8's fifth quarter with Thad Brown.
And thanks for watching the fifth quarter. I'm Thad Brown, and tonight we officially welcome Prescott Rossi to the News 8 team. He comes to us by way of Bangor, Maine. He's an Albany native, and we're happy to have you here, man.
And very happy to be here. Let's get going. No time to chat.
That's right. Now that we've taken care of introductions, like you said, let's go back to work. Bills and Chargers both began the day 5-7. Chargers still had legit playoff hopes. The Bills can only play spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
A good story for sure.
Absolutely.
We're done tonight. Next week, like we said, Dolphins in town. John Kutchko and I will be at the Ralph for reaction.
And I'll be here with all the highlights from the Bills and the rest of Week 15. That's next Sunday on the fifth quarter.
For Scott, John, and our new boy, Prescott, thanks for being here.
Yep, one in the books. Many more to go.
Thad Brown, we're done for the fifth quarter. Have a great night.
Okay, fine. Chargers win 37-10. Bills officially eliminated from the postseason.
Oh.
12th straight year.
No
And,
playoffs for
Week
us.
15,
12 straight years.
Dolphins beat them 30-23. Week 16, Tim Tebow. Tebow Mania comes to Western New York.
Tebow Mania!
With Tim Tebow and the Broncos up next on Christmas Eve. Here's Prescott Rossi with our Bills report.
Arguably, there is no more compelling athlete in the NFL right now than Tim Tebow, the quarterback of the Broncos. And he'll be here at Ralph Wilson Stadium on Saturday. For David Nelson of the Bills, it's a chance to catch up with an old teammate. The two played together at the University of Florida.
Same as any other week, whenever you have a good friend playing on the other team, not only
David
a teammate
Nelson.
of mine, but he was one of my closest friends in college, and we stay in touch. And so it's just like any other friend, I want him to succeed until we play him.
Stopping the Broncos' unique offense will be a tall order for the Bills' defense. The Broncos lead the league in rushing, and only 3 teams in the NFL have given up more rushing yards than the Bills.
Of course.
More option than you ever see from any other team. There's more quarterback run than you see from any other team. So you have to prepare for all of that. And that makes it different. It's still a Wildcat package.
And finally, good news on the injury front for the Bills. Tight end Scott Chandler back at practice today. He's missed
Chandler's
the last 2 games due
back.
to an ankle injury. Wide receiver Stevie Johnson did not practice today because of a nagging groin injury, but head coach Chan Gailey says they're just resting Stevie Johnson, and he should be ready to go on Saturday when the Bills host the Broncos. In Orchard Park with the Bills, I'm Prescott Rossi.
Tebow scores the first points of the game as a rushing touchdown in the
And
first
that
quarter.
stadium is no
Tebow then
longer,
picked off 3
folks.
times, has a fumble return for a touchdown by Spencer Johnson. Jarris Byrd has a pick 6 as well. Did we even shoot that game? Because it was Christmas Eve.
It was Christmas Eve. I actually had the day off, believe it or not. They gave me, I think, the only Bills day I've had off because it was Christmas Eve. The Bills were dead. I don't think we had a 6 o'clock show that day, so there was only really one late show.
I remember I anchored it.
Yeah.
It might have been my first. Yes. It might have been my first Sunday anchoring.
John went up there just to get some of the Tebow Mania pregame. That was it. I mean, it was such a non-event.
Yeah.
Really, Tim Tebow was the event for that game, and then that was the only game.
And we whooped him up.
What Tim Tebow should look like, which is a terrible NFL quarterback.
40-14, the final score from the Ralph. The losing streak is over. Too bad only 40,000 people were there, and the game was blacked out in Western New York.
After a win like this, especially
Fitz's beard's growing out a little bit more.
You enjoy the victory. Enjoy it in there with the teammates, and you take your hat off to the defense, special teams guys, and CJ. For his first 100-yard game, that was great to see today too.
You don't belabor the point, but at the same time, it's kind of sitting there, in the back of everybody's mind. I didn't go out and say we got to have it, but at the same time, everybody knows.
Man, his release was so bad. It worked in college.
We get one more opportunity.
But in the NFL, man, that release,
I just remember sitting,
Tim Tebow's release,
in
man,
the sports office just around the corner, like
not good.
Wow, they are embarrassing Tim Tebow, and then he doesn't lose until the AFC Championship game in the season.
Well,
so
divisional round, but
whatever it was,
But I mean,
for over a month,
the 10 games from mid-season until the second round of the playoffs. That was the only time he didn't look like a miracle.
They got rid of him the very following year, too.
Yeah. I actually, this is the first game I ever covered, the first Bills game I covered, because it was Christmas Eve, and I just held a microphone for a camera in Denver. That was it. And so I got to go.
I think that's when they got Peyton Manning,
and
if I'm not
was
mistaken.
really glad I did because it was amazing. because Tebow was so bad. And that Broncos team, let's set the record straight. That defense was incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, that defense was legit.
He was winning those games is because the defense would allow 6 points, and then eventually they would have they can kick 3 field goals.
Right.
They can make it work
from 65 yards away too. Yeah.
And so
I know, right?
Being in the stands for the Patriots game, which again we said is the highlight of the 17 years that we're talking about here. But that game, the fans that were there, which 50,000 people, loved it. But it was a very different feeling. It was jubilation for the Patriots, and it was there is hatred for that team, but it was joy and success. This was definitely a dark, angry excitement about the fact that Tim Tebow was failing. Yes. And it was really strange to go from that, him playing so poorly, and then you go down and do post game, and he is just the media presence is real on Tim Tebow. He is charming.
Oh, absolutely.
And always says the right thing.
We understand that every game's a big game in the NFL. Every team is good, and
he's a good guy.
A very good team, and you have to give them a lot of credit for the way that they executed and the way that they played. Yeah, I don't think it was because our team,
John Fox,
got proud about anything. I think we're the same team. We just didn't execute well enough.
And it was really strange to go from
who is now on the Buffalo Bills coaching staff,
in that crowd, and then
very good coach.
Room and he kind of charms everybody. And he's like, "No, we're going to be fine." And then they were fine for a whole month.
Yes.
I was like, "Wait a minute." I had thoughts about Tim Tebow. I did not think he was a good quarterback, but I was like, "Wait a minute, is he doing it? Is he actually I really thought wow, maybe I'm off here."
Well, and you talk about the anger sensed from the Bills crowd, and to me, I compare that
Bills Mafia getting mad
game when he was with Washington.
Yes.
Year after he leaves the Bills, and how badly the Bills fans wanted Rob Johnson on the field. Steve Spurrier gives them the raw meat that they want and throws Rob Johnson on the field. He gets sacked, and just the sound that the crowd makes from our low angle video, from the broadcast video, you
sacking Rob Johnson. We loved it, huh?
And to me, I don't know that it's much
that's terrible.
than how they felt, all these years later on Christmas Eve as the sainted Tim Tebow gets brought down to earth hard with 3 picks and a fumble.
Well, and I think part of that is the fact that, people like Tim Tebow, and there were people that thought the Bills should draft him. Every team had a set of fans that thought that their team needed Tim Tebow because of, the superlatives that he had, because of the success he had at Florida.
He was really good in college.
A lot of fans that were there, and the season is a disaster. There's no question. What stands out to me are those 2 moments because, how poorly the season ended up almost taints that Patriots game because you thought it was real and you felt it and you allowed yourself to feel things, and then it wasn't real. It was a disaster. But that at least confirmed the fact that no, we didn't make a mistake in not getting that guy.
Yes.
It's that. Yes. That's the only thing we can take out of this season is no, at least that is fine. We'll let that fail on its own.
The other thing, don't let the Bills make you feel things.
Well, if the lesson is anything, yes, it's that. Don't ever love.
Week 17, the Bills go on the road to New England. The Patriots win 49-21.
Well, there's more. I mean, it's not just a game. I mean, that's the 21-0. That's the Stevie Johnson gets suspended game.
Yeah.
And so the Bills score up 21-0 this game. One of the touchdowns is to Stevie.
Yep.
And Stevie has a Happy
Shirt.
New Year.
Yeah.
on his
He
shirt,
was.
a
He
t-shirt.
was.
Gets a 15-yard penalty. He comes to the sideline, and in full view of all of us on the sideline, Chan Gailey benches him. Like, go sit down, audible. Like, there was no doubt. It wasn't like, oh,
Chan benching
What
Stevie.
we said after we had an issue earlier in the season was if anybody got a penalty that hurt our football team for any type of demonstration, that he was out that game, and then we decide about the next game. I'm disappointed.
Chan's pulling
and,
McDermott
if it hurts a
there.
team, then I got to do what I got to do.
I got to respect his decision, you know, and he,
Not
he
that
made
big
it.
of a deal.
And that's
Calm
what it
down,
is, you know,
Chan.
can't complain about it.
It happened last year. He put a message on his shirt and showed his shirt and didn't get flagged. And he does it this year and he gets flagged. Which one is it?
I didn't know it was going to draw a penalty. At the end of the day, you know, what I did is what I did, and I'll try to bring in like a new year. And ultimately, it hurt my teammates, and that's the thing that's hurting me the most. I'm not embarrassed to the world. You know, in this locker room, I feel like I let some people down, but embarrassed, I'm not embarrassed about it.
He's not a bad guy. He's not. He's a good guy, but he uses some bad judgment at times. And if you do that enough, it hurts the team too much. You got to do something.
So the Bills couldn't even end this disaster season without having a little disaster of itself.
Oh, my
And the
God.
Lions also make the postseason, so the Buffalo Bills are officially the team with the longest playoff drought in the National Football League. And this is in 2011.
Yes.
We still have 5 more years to go. So final statistics from the 2011 season as we put a bow on it. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 62% completion percentage, 3,800 yards. He threw the ball a lot. He threw the ball to the other team a lot, too. Led the NFL with 23 interceptions that season.
It's bad.
Freddie runs for 934 yards in only 10 games, has 6 touchdowns. I mean,
Not bad
you
at all
really
for
think
10
about those
games,
first
yeah.
10 games for Fred Jackson. Unbelievable how well he played. Really the peak of his career.
If he doesn't get hurt, he's
Goes
well
for
over
1,000 yards
1,000.
receiving, back-to-back 1,000 yards.
Stevie had a good season.
And
Yep.
C.J. Spiller comes on in spell of Fred Jackson, 561 rushing yards, 269 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. The offense was better. I mean, they were a top half of the league offense. The defense, again, is poor as 28th against the run in the NFL.
Defense was certainly the number one problem. And the coordinator gets fired after the season, George Edwards. But the offense was the worry because you had just committed all this money to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yeah. And even when the contract happened, there were the Dick Duran contract comparisons. Now they were, blaring from the rooftops of why did we give Ryan Fitzpatrick this money to see him, lose 8 of his last 10 or whatever it was.
Yeah. And so the Bills end the season 2011. So, fellas, just final thoughts on a year that obviously, as you mentioned, had such an incredible high with the win over the Patriots, and it ends in disgrace at 6-10 and another season without the playoffs.
I think fans certainly thought that they got fooled again, right? And what was alarming, if you're looking at it critically, is how quickly it fell.
You're not going to fool us again, Buffalo Bills.
Jackson obviously was off to a great start. Fitzpatrick was playing well when he got the contract. And then a couple things went wrong, and it's just gone. And how quickly it fell is really the thing that stands out for me. It's that I think this is the part of the drought where people really don't have any optimism at all. You really need to prove to them because they thought it happened. They thought it was going to happen. You thought it was going to happen. The media was on board. It was very much, there was a sense that something different was happening here. And no, it was not.
Not only quickly, but spectacularly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 5-2 and then 3 blowout losses and then another blowout to San Diego. I mean, they got embarrassed.
Man, we fell
immediately after starting.
Bad after that hot start.
Ralph Wilson is 93 years old. The Bills' lease with Erie County and Ralph Wilson Stadium
93.
expires in the summer of 2013. So a year and a half to go on the lease. The Bills have the 10th overall pick. So many questions need to be answered in 2012. And to that, we turn to the next episode of Down and Drought.
All right, guys. So that was that's it, man. That's the Down and Down and Drought. That was episode number 12. Next Sunday, we're doing it again at 1:00. We're going to be covering the 2012 Buffalo Bills, episode number 13. And yeah, spoiler alert, we don't make the playoffs. But it was good times, and it was a good time with you guys today. Once again, I enjoyed doing this with you guys. We got like I said, 5 more episodes to go. So Been fun, man. Definitely been fun. Something to do on a Sunday at 1 o'clock. And I hope you guys have been enjoying this with me. Fitz gets shits for his picks, but Ferguson threw more. Yep. Love my yeah. See y'all. See you, pal. See you tomorrow night. Yep. So I will be live tomorrow with Mikey at 10 o'clock for Monday Night Uncensored. And until then, Bills Mafia, I love you. And as always, go Bills. I'm out of here. Peace.
Just let your soul go. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul, baby, feel it all.